Log into gyroscopemeet.com, the hottest online radio station in the world. GS Radio all day, all night, worldwide. Powered by Gyroscope Media Group, LLC.
GS Radio, the best internet radio station worldwide. Providing the best in music and talk shows. Go to www.gsradionj.com and check out the best internet station in the world.
Log into.
You're listening to GS Radio, internet radio station powered by GMG, LLC.
Welcome to episode number 408 episode of Rashad Show, live on Gyroscope Radio. I'm Rashad, which comes to you live in my day from home. The Rashad Show comes out every single Saturday afternoon from 2 o'clock p.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on Gyroscope Radio. That was the team with the final episode in the month of May. You know, great note, we got a lot of stuff going on. Also with the NBA, we're going to start with that. Get into some sports headlines and also UFC fighting schedule, things of that nature, Major League Baseball. Scenario that's going on right now, the Dodgers and the Yankees. That was a big headline of a matchup that was played last night as the Dodgers won 8-5, and get to talk about also the Thunder, the possibility of a dynasty. I saw an article in ESPN.com. I want to go for that. The parallels between that team and the 2015 Golden State Warriors of 10 years ago, how they started their dynasty. It's very interesting parallels in comparison. So I'm against that in the second half of the show. But first one was get to the NBA, man. Salute to the OKC Thunder. Oklahoma City Thunder did it. They reached the NBA Finals for the second time since they moved from Seattle. Remember, they used to be in Seattle, the Seattle Supersonics, and they was able to get to the finals and beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. This is a very ugly match. It was a mismatch. I mean, you look at this matchup, it's all blowouts. Most of the games were blowouts. They had one close game, and that was game 4. And they was able to win 128-126. But outside that, this whole series was just all about the OKC Thunder, man. They play their defense, play great on offense. They're just a tough team to deal with. And they showed that in the closeout series. They was able to win by a score of 124-94. I mean, won by 30 points. So this game was just something that was just amazing performance by this team. Shows why they won 68 games during the regular season. They led by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Way he plays this game the right way. He's not a guy that's going to shoot a lot of threes. He has a lot of post moves, turnaround jumps. He knows how to get it done. This guy knows how to get it done. And from that perspective, you got to give all the credit where it's due. When it comes to the dominance and how they play their game and how they dominate. I think that's the thing that stands out for us as concerned. So I'm looking forward to continuing. Looking forward to continuing to talk about this team for a long time. So I'm doing this show for us, the dynasty that can be in the making. When you look at the work that they've done so far, they got to the finals. They got to win 4 games. Then you can talk about the dynasty potential because they got a lot of young talent. They're very young in all spots, and this team is going to continue to get better and better as they continue to progress as being a dominant team possibly in the Western Conference and the NBA. So just a very dominant performance. Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves, they got a lot of work to do. Anthony Edwards definitely got to get better in the post game. He's very athletic, but he got to develop footwork in the post game. He can be dominant player even more. But 2 consecutive years in the conference finals with no championship to show for it, no NBA finals appearance to show for it, unfortunately. And they was able to show that they're not ready to take that next step yet. OKC is ready. Minnesota's not ready. And yes, they made that trade with Karl Anthony Towns, and that became a very successful trade because they was able to still get back to where it was last year. So it definitely was a plus to get DiVincenzo and Julius Randle, but they still can't get over that hump. So where do they go from here? Do they make a change here and there, tweak it a little bit, or they stay with the same roster and see what happens with Anthony Edwards? So give credit where it's due, man. It was all about the OKC Thunder. They were a dominant team. It was not a great series, man. This was not a series that was fun to watch. When you look at this series, it was all about the dominance of this OKC team, how they play, how they dominate, how they play defense, how they the bench, everything. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander played like an MVP. You know what I'm saying? So you look at his body of work, this guy is definitely on another level. When you talk about his skill set and the way he plays the game of basketball, just something to behold. It's so fun to watch. He's not going to put so much emphasis on just shooting threes, and that's the thing that stands out for his action. So give credit where it's due. They're in the finals. Nothing else to be said. I mean, there's a lot of work to do for the Minnesota Timberwolves to get back to this point. They got a lot of work to do, and we'll see what happens as far as that's concerned. So I'm going to go with that and take it from there and move forward in that. So I wanted to start the show with that because that was a big time basketball game that they played at a high level as far as what they did within the Oklahoma City Thunder. They got a chance to really do something special. I think they definitely showed that with their performance this past week. And that performance that they had. So I think that's a wonderful situation. Looking forward to seeing this OKC Thunder dominate and blossom as a team because they're going to continue to be what they are. They're not going anywhere no time soon. So they're that good, they're that great of a team on a rise. So I think, as far as that's concerned, I like this team being really good. And I think they're going to be good for a long period of time. So I had to start the show with that. OKC Thunder wins the Western Conference Championship. May be a sign of things to come where they're going to be the new team that teams got to deal with in the Western Conference and NBA because they're so young. They're so in a certain spot. Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams. The Alex Caruso trade was a big trade because he brings defense and veteran leadership and know how to play the game of basketball. So, and also you look at the general manager. I mean, he's the guy that definitely deserves a championship. The things that he's done for OKC. Losing the players that he lost, like Westbrook and Durant and Harden, guys that would win the MVP. Steve Sam Presti, he's definitely a guy that deserves a championship. He's been there for a long time, since 2007. He's executive of the year this year, rightfully so. All he needs is a championship. And he's been, there for 18 seasons. Served as a GM with the Spurs from 2000 to 2007. And he's done a great job being with this team at that time. From that time he took the job to now. 6 Northwest Division championships, the conference finals 4 times, and the NBA finals in 2012. This is the second time he's been in the NBA finals as executive. as an executive vice president GM. I'm saying? This guy's definitely knows what's going on. He knows how to get the job done. And you gotta give all the credit to him hanging in there and have to endure through all the losses and still rebuild the team. Because it's not easy, man, to build a team after we had Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. Guys that are going to win MVPs. I'm saying? That's not easy. And still find a way to rebuild and turn it around and do better. So I think from that standpoint, this team is definitely 4 wins away from accomplishing their goal. That's winning the championship for the first time since they've been in Oklahoma City. And it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen. It's just the Oklahoma City Invitational. No matter what's going on between the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks, they going to be for second place. They're not winning the series. They're not beating OKC Thunder. This their year. It's the OKC Thunder's year. It's their time. It's their time. They gonna win this shit. I just think that, it'll be an upset if they lose in the NBA Finals because they had such a great season. You know what I'm saying? It's all about the championship. I think moving forward, I don't see nobody beating them. And as again to the Indiana Pacers New York Knicks series, it's been a very weird series, man. Very strange. No home court advantage, blown leads and stuff like that. The first two games was obviously won by Indiana, and then game 3 was a must-win for the Knicks, and they was able to pull it off and win that game, handle their business, and get back into the series. And then they lose game 4 with a virtual performance by Tyrese Halliburton, 30-plus points. But yeah, like 15 assists, 12, I think 15 rebounds, 15 assists, 12 assists, something like that. And they was able to win that game. Then they lose this past Thursday, 111-94. Kind of like they mailed it in, the Pacers, because wasn't aggressive, especially Halliburton. Halliburton only had 7 shot attempts from the field. And I think that's the thing that stands out as far as that's concerned. So I think from that standpoint, that's the thing that stands out. Why he was not aggressive, why he did not attack. Because when you have a team down 3-1, you want to make sure you end the series easily and often so you get that rest. Not let a team back in the series because that could be dangerous. So when you look at this past game that was played this past Thursday, Halliburton had 7 field goal attempts, 2 3-point attempts. He's very passive. And the thing that stands out is that in that starting lineup, only Pascal Siakam had double figures, 15 points. Everybody else was in single digits. 3 points for Naismith, 5 points for Turner, 6 points for Nembhard, and only 8 points for Halliburton. I mean, the bench played good. Toppin had 11 points. Thurin had 23 points. So where's the starting lineup? It's like they just milled it in, just took it easy. Like, okay, we get them back, back at home. Give credit to Brunson, played well, 32 points, 12 of 18 from the field. Carl Anthony Towns played well, 24 points, 13 rebounds, did his thing. But some of this was just, Indiana just didn't show up. They just didn't want to, come to play today, during that time. They didn't want to play. Because when you have a situation where you got a chance to eliminate the opponent, put them away, and just move on to the next round, and you come out like this, it's like they didn't want to, be aggressive. So I think tonight's going to be a whole totally different Indiana Pacers team. They're definitely going to be aggressive. I can definitely see Halliburton obviously shooting way more than 7 field goals. I think he's going to shoot at least 15 to 20 field goals. It's not even close. It's going to happen. I'll be shocked if he don't attempt 20 field goal attempts. Because you're that good, you should be able to be aggressive. This is a chance to go to the NBA Finals. This is the first time in 25 years, if Indiana gets it done, that they go into the NBA Finals in 25 years. Since 2000, they lost to the Lakers. It's this game. So this is a big game. Biggest game in franchise history in a long time, and more than a quarter of a century. So you got to be able to be aggressive. I think Indiana's going to win tonight. I think they're going to be aggressive. I think Halliburton's going to be on attack mode. I think all their stars are going to play better. The bench is going to play better. They're going to be ready. The Knicks are going to come to play, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I think the Indiana Pacers are just a better team. They depth is going to be a factor. They're at home. They just can't get comfortable. The thing that Indiana cannot do is just come out and think they're going to win the game. They got to go forward. They got to take it. They can't just come out there and just, go up to a bad start. That's the thing you don't want to do. You want to keep the pride in the game by getting off to a great start. Get off to a big lead, play from ahead, the rest of the way keep the pride in the game so that the Knicks won't have a chance. For the Knicks side, obviously you want to get off to a great start, keep the pride in the game. You want to score, you want to dominate, you want to handle your business. Towns and Brunson got to beat Callis. Bridges got to be the X factor. He has to play well. And the Novi has to play better. The bench got to make a contribution as well. So this is going to be an interesting game tonight, but I think in the end, I think they're going to play much better. I think they're going to have a lot of aggressiveness from Halliburton. You got to play better than just shoot 7 attempts from the field. You got to do better than that. You got to shoot at least 15, 20 attempts. You got to be in attack mode, be aggressive, be his usual self, get to the basket, shoot moves, do his thing. Be that playmaker. And I think they'll win tonight. They're going to advance to the NBA Finals, simple as that. But either way, OKC's winning the championship. They win the championship. It's a wrap. They're going to win the championship because they got the best team. They got the best team, top to bottom, defensively, everything they need to be a dynastic team, have a dynasty. And I think they're gonna get it done uh, tonight. Indiana, but they will lose in the NBA Finals to OKC. They're gonna win the championship. But going back to that game 4, when they won 130 to 121, great performance by Halliburton. This is what you're gonna see tonight. I ain't saying he's gonna have a triple double, but he's definitely gonna have at least 20, 23, 25 field goal attempts. He's gonna definitely be shooting a lot of field goals attempts. He was 5 for 12 from the three, had 12 rebounds, 15 assists, 32 points. So I expect him to have a better performance than he had in the last game. May not have a triple double, but I think they're gonna win tonight. He's gonna close out. They better close it out because they lose this game. Now you got game 7 on Monday night. Like you had a 3-1 lead. You had a chance to eliminate the Knicks in 5 games and you let them off the hook. You can't do that. You gotta have a killer instinct. That's why I think OKC's gonna win the championship. They have a killer instinct. They know how to put teams away. They're not gonna let a team get back in the series. Now, yeah, they had a tough series against Denver, 7-game series, but they sweat. That's what I'm gonna check if I do research. They sweat Minnesota. No, they sweat. Memphis. Beat them in 4 games. I mean, 4 games to none. Swept them. They had a 7-game series against Denver, but then they go and win 5 games against Minnesota. So they know how to put teams away, and they did that in the series against Memphis. I think they're gonna do the same thing. Whoever they play in the next round in the finals, I think it's going to be a sweep or a 5-game series because if they play like they played against Minnesota, they can definitely sweep or win 5 games, have a short series because they're so great at both sides of the ball and they got a great bench. So, to me, Memphis, OKC swept at Memphis. They know how to put teams away. They've been dominant in these playoffs, and we have 4 losses. They got 1 loss in this series against Minnesota, 3 losses against Denver. They only lost 4 games in these playoffs. And they sweat Memphis. So this team knows how to put teams away. So for the Pacers tonight, they got to win tonight. Simple as that. You don't want to go back over to New York. Now, anything happens in game 7, no such thing as home court advantage. Outside, if you watch the games from the second round to now, there's no such thing as home court advantage. You can lose at home. You can lose at home because there's no such thing as, oh man, how you gonna beat this team on the road? No, there's no such thing. So if it goes to game 7, Pacers definitely win in game 7. But if you're a Pacers fan, you don't want to see this series go back to game 7. You want to make this series, be ended quickly as possible because you don't want to have a series where, you got, a game 7 and then all of a sudden everything go in favor of the home team. They get the whistle, get the calls. You want to make sure you put the series away. So I think from that standpoint, I think Indiana will win tonight. I don't think they're going to mess around. They're going to have Halliburton that's going to be aggressive. I think they're all going to play well. The starting five is going to play well. The bench is going to play well. They're going to handle the bench. They're going to win this game. They're better than else they're going to lose the series. It'll be one of the greatest collapses in NBA playoffs history. As far as having a team down 3-1. It has happened before. Plenty of teams have come back from 3-1 deficit. So this is not going to be something different as you look at 3-1 deficits in playoff history. How many times has happened? Was teams coming back? It's happened a lot. Happened 13 times. 13 teams have managed to overcome a 3-1 deficit and win the series. So it's happened before. The last team to do it was the 2020 Denver Nuggets. They overcame a 3-1 deficit in consecutive series, rather, during the 2020 finals. And so it's happened before. I mean, Denver did it against Utah in 2020, did it against the Clippers in the semifinals. So it's happened before. Conference finals history, the Celtics did it against the 76ers. They came back from a 3-1 deficit. Washington Bullets overcame a 3-1 deficit and beat the Spurs at 79. 85. I think this is incorrect. The 85 Lakers. I don't think they were down 3-1 against the Rockets in 85. That's another mistake. Yeah, some of these are not correct. But like I said, it has happened 13 times in the NBA. Teams have come back from 3-1 deficits. That's what Knicks are trying to do right now. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's over. I think this series is going to be over soon tonight. I like the Pacers to win the series, advance to the NBA Finals. But they will lose to the OKC Thunder. I think they're gonna win the whole thing. That's all that needs to be said, man. When you talk about this NBA playoffs, it's been very, very strange to me. No home court advantage, no such thing. That's what I've discovered, and also lack of maintaining a lead. That's the thing that stands out to me, is that teams don't know how to hold on to leads in these playoffs. So that's it for that. That's all that needs to be said, because there's nothing else to say about the NBA playoffs. Is that OKC handled their business. They sit home right now, waiting for the opponent. But tonight it will be Indiana, or the Knicks supposed to Game 7 for Monday night. I think that NBA playoffs will be, the conference finals will be on Monday night if it's necessary, if the Knicks win. But the NBA finals will start on June 5th in OKC. Right, so let's get into some sports headlines. Again, you had Ohtani and Judge. I get into the baseball in the second half, so we'll skip that. Get some news about a lawsuit against Zion Williamson. Zion Williamson, the player of the New Orleans Pelicans. Some woman is accusing him of rape, sexual, physical, emotional, financial abuse over the span of a multi-year relationship. There's a lawsuit that was submitted to the Superior Court in Los Angeles. The woman, who was identified as Jane Doe, accused Williamson of a continuing pattern of abusive, controlling, threatening behavior over the course of a relationship that began in 2018 to 2023. These actions occurred in Louisiana and California. Rape allegations allegedly in 2020 took place in Beverly Hills, California. She was tired and wanted to go to sleep, but Wilson told her she could not go to sleep without having sex with him. Pinned her down with her hands behind her back, raped her. All this nonsense. Who knows if it's true or not? No woman can make things up. But these are allegations. This is rape allegations. I'm not going to go through all the details, but it's just some allegations that's going against her. She's seeking $18 million to $50 million in damages. And that's what she's seeking from Williamson. Now, according to the attorneys, they said Williamson and the woman had a consensual, casual relationship that ended years ago. At no point there was during it or immediately after that relationship did the plaintiff raise any concerns. And they added that Williamson had reported the woman's extortion attempts to law enforcement, so he claims to file a counterclaim. So, see what happens. All right. What else to talk about for his world sports? I'm not against the baseball. Let's leave the baseball alone. Save the baseball for the second half of the show. See anything going on in the NFL? Any football news? Yeah, there was a big story this week about Stephon Diggs. He was on a boat with some strippers, some women. So Mike Vrabel had to address this new coach of the Patriots about Stephon Diggs, who was with the Patriots, him not being present with the voluntary organized team activity this past Wednesday. And there was a video that surfaced with him on a boat, flashing an unidentified pink substance, maybe some type of drug, surrounded by 3 women. And he had to address this before practice, and he said it's something we're aware of, and obviously we want to make great decisions on the field. Any conversations that I've had with Stephon will remain between him and I and the club, and stuff like that. He confirmed that he had been in communication with Diggs as he had been with every player on the roster. So Stephon Diggs, he was with Houston last year. Actually, he signed a 3-year deal. He's not meeting with the Patriots, and this is not a good look for Diggs. Diggs should not do this. He's 31 years old. Should not be on no boat with 3 women. And you got a substance in your possession that may be some type of drug paraphernalia. Saying like just not a good look. Especially we've been in the league so long. Just don't make sense. Not a good look. Other news are the 49ers finalizing the trade for Eagles defensive end Bryce Huff. So the defensive line of the San Francisco 49ers is continuing to have its way. The trade, which is expected to be finalized next week after the calendar returns to June, includes a restructured contract for Huff. Sources told Schefter Huff was slated to make $16.75 million in fully guaranteed money in 2025, but the Eagles will take on $9.05 million salary, leaving the Niners to handle the remaining $7.95 million. So San Francisco is expected to send a middle round draft pick to the Eagles for Huff. Now you look at Huff. Upon landing in San Francisco, Huff will be reunited with Robert Saleh, who coached the Net Jets for 3 seasons. Huff had his best NFL season in 2023. He had a career high 10 sacks, 68 pressures, and 312 pass rush snaps. And 21.8% pressure rate was the best in the NFL. His breakout season resulted in Huff landing one of the biggest free agent deals in 2024, signed a 3-year, $50 million deal with the Eagles. But Huff never got his footing in Philadelphia, unfortunately. He had 2.5 sacks, 12 games, and just 6 starts for 13 tackles. So, what the 49ers trying to do, they're trying to, make up for, undergo a big makeover because they got Nick Bosa. He's the only surefire starter. They released Javon Hargrave and Malik Collins in defensive end, Leonard Floyd. So they're trying to do all they can to make things right. They did draft Michael Williams in second round, the fourth round choices like Alfred Collins and C.J. West. So they're trying to upgrade that position and make that defensive line stronger. So that's the storyline on that. Or was the NFL? Also, the Dolphins and the Steelers are looking to make a trade for Jonnu Smith, the tight end. They're engaged in a trade discussion. The Pittsburgh Steelers over tight end Jonnu Smith. Smith expressed interest to the Dolphins and revoking a 2-year deal he signed last offseason. Smith was not present in Miami's voluntary OTA practices. The Steelers' interest in Smith is rooted in offensive coordinator Arthur Smith's long-standing relationship with the tight end. So, see if that trade works out between the Miami Dolphins and the Steelers. And then Justin Fields says that he can be great with the Jets. He has a fresh start, obviously, doing OTAs. Because OTAs are going on right now in the NFL right now. So that's the thing that's ongoing with the National Football League. So that's basically it. Also, there's an article right here. Parsons, Watt, Henderson, Moorstar negotiations could be on the docket for as big money deals. Franchise tag like offensive guard Trey Smith for Kansas City Chiefs, free agents like Cal Pitts, the tight end of Atlanta Falcons. His contract year. James Cook is in negotiations to enter his final year of his rookie deal. Trey Hendrickson has no desire to play out the final year of his contract. They're trying to give him a short contract for Hendrickson. See what happens with that. Michael Parsons. Contract situations on the docket with that. Cortland Sutton, dealing with negotiations and stuff like that. So these are lists of players that I see right here that stands out. They're looking for contracts and stuff like that, dealing with negotiations and stuff like that. All right, so that's basically it, man. Like I said, I'm gonna save the baseball for the second half of the show. In the Dodgers and Yankees, they playing a series right now. Getting the series last night, and then get into that UFC fighting schedule. Get into that. And also, like I said, there's an article that I saw on ESPN, very interesting article about the similarities of what could possibly be, with OKC Thunder being a dynasty compared to the last dynasty that recently took place with the Warriors, with the 4 championships that they won. What they did back in 2015, 2 years ago. It's like a parallel comparison between why this team could be just like that team. So I'm gonna break down that article. And I think that'll be it for the show. I'm thinking of everything else to talk about as far as that's concerned, but see what happens in the second half. But that's it for the first half of the show. That's it. I'm looking forward to continue on with what I'm doing in the second half of the show. And keep moving. So hopefully you enjoyed the first half of the show. Like I said, talk about the NBA. It was OKC Thunder being in the NBA Finals. Obviously, the Indiana Pacers and the Knicks, they play tonight. Can the Pacers finish off the Knicks, or can the Knicks force a game 7? We'll see what happens. But either way, I think OKC is going to win the championship. They're the best team in the league by far. They're dominant when they need to be dominant. They're tough to deal with, man, when they playing on all cylinders. So, say before music break songs come back more of the Rashad Mitchell Show live on Job Radio, and come back and get into the UFC fighting schedule. He was fighting today, and also the baseball recap, and definitely get into that again. The article that I saw about the OKC Thunder, about their dynasty possibly could be in the making compared to the last dynasty that we had, and that was the Golden State Warriors winning 4 championships. Because like the show, this is the Rashad Mitchell Show every single Saturday afternoon from 2 o'clock p.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Yon Gyroscope Radio. Be right back. Welcome back to the 408th, 408th episode of the Rashad Mitchell Show, Lounge Jasco Radio. Let's get into the second half of the show. Let's get into UFC fighting schedule. Definitely got some fights coming up today. Let's get into that. Get into the UFC fighting schedule. All right, let's get into it, man. We got the main event. We got Erin Blanchfield against Macy Barber. This is the main event for the women's flyweight. I guess this is for the championship on the line. Anyway, this is the main event between women's flyweight division. Erin Blanchfield, Macy Barber. Erin Blanchfield is 13-2, while Macy Barber is 14-2. And then we got the co-main event. We got the lightweight division. We got Latu's Gamrot. No decision, 24-3 against Ludovic Klein, 23-4-1. And the welterweight Billy Ray Goff, 93 against Ramiz from Brahimaj, 11-5. Welterweight division. 9 o'clock p.m. light heavyweight Dustin Jacoby, 29-1. Bruno Lopes, 14-1. Women featherweight Caitlin Barrera, 14-4. Macy Chison, 11-3. Zachary Reese, 8-2. Dusko Todorich, 5. Middleweight, 9 p.m. Welterweight. There's some cancellations on the welterweight division. Matter of fact, Billy Ray Goff, he's supposed to have fought Cole Shiok Hellion. That's Hayan. That's a cancellation right there. And Ramiz, Brahimaj, Alban Elliott, they're supposed to be fighting in the welterweight. They'll be fighting tonight. All right, so preliminary card, we got the flyweight division at 6:30. We got Jafel Phil Ho against Alan Nascimento. Jafel Fejo is 16-3, and Alan Nascimento is 20-6. Then the lightweight division got Kurt Hollabo, 29-9, 22-9, excuse me. One of decision, Jordan Levitt, 11-3. In the whiteweight division, 6:30 p.m. Bolaji Oki, 9-2. Michael as well, 10-2. Then Rayan Dos Santos, 14-8 against Alice Adrenaline, 9-7, strawweight division. In the women's division, got some cancellations. Jeremiah Wells against Andres Gustafsson, Markel Maderos against Balaji Oki, and Trevin Gals and Andreas Gustafsson. That's it for that. As far as that's concerned. So that's preliminary. And the main card that's going to take place was UFC fighting schedule. So let's get into the baseball, man. Again, we're going to start with the Yankees. The Yankees and the Mets. Excuse me, the Yankees and the Dodgers. That's been the big situation, the big matchup for the rematch of last year's World Series. And last night you had both these players, Shohei Ohtani, and Aaron Judge, show out. They did their thing. They was going to show. Aaron Judge hit a home run in the top of the first, and Shohei Ohtani hit like 2 home runs. I think he hit 2 home runs last night. As Ohtani and the Dodgers won 8-5, so this could be another rematch. The two-way phenomenon added another home run. That means Ohtani 4-run rally against dominant Max Fried, and they won 8-5 coming from behind victory. And now Ohtani has gone deep 15 times in May. That ties a franchise record for the most home runs in a single month. According to Judge, he says he's impressed with one of the best players in the league in the game for a reason. What he can do in the box on the base pass once he gets back on the mound is special. Ohtani is expected to face hitters in live batting practice at Dodger Stadium on Saturday, second session in a span of 6 days. His pitching progression has been steady in recent weeks. He is not expected to join the needy rotation of the Dodgers after the All-Star break. In the meantime, Ohtani continues to be a force offensively, hitting 294, 394, 670 with 11 stolen bases and a major league leading 22 home runs. Be more than third place Judge, who sits at 392. Freddie Freeman said, "I heard a chance for MVP. He really well on his way to doing that again." The Dodgers beat the Yankees in 5 games last year, getting their first full season championship in 36 years. It was a matchup of arguably the 2 most storied major league franchises, loaded payrolls and star-laden rosters. Mookie Betts didn't play; he has a toe fracture. But Friday's game will have marked the first time in Major League history that 3 former MVPs resided in each lineup for the same game. Interesting. Yeah, Mookie Betts had played. Last night's game will make some history in Major League Baseball. We had 3 former MVPs residing in each lineup for the same game. Obviously, the headlines was no Judge and Ohtani, so yeah, that series going to be something to behold. If you're a baseball fan, even a casual baseball fan, that's the series to watch because of the classic blue bloods of franchises of Dodgers and Yankees. It's no better than that. Well, Mike Trout returned, batted 5th for the first time in Angels win. He returned to the lineup Monday in Boston. He was expected to return to the Los Angeles Angels lineup Monday in Boston, but the time was moved up 1 series in 3 days. He was activated off the injured list and went 1 for 5 as a designated hitter in Friday night's 4-1 win over the Cleveland Guardians. Angel slugger missed 26 games because of soreness in his left knee that was eventually diagnosed as a bone bruise. The 3-time American League MVP had 2 operations last year on the knee after tearing this meniscus. Trout said that felt good, struck out on 2 at-bats, but other than that, felt all right. Trout batted 5th for the first time in 1,532 starts. Trout lined a base hit to life center in the 4th inning. He thought he had a hit in his first at-bat in the 2nd inning, but Cleveland third baseman Jose Ramirez made a nice grab on a low line drive. Ron Washington said, quote, "I thought he had some good at-bats, considering that he hadn't seen live pitching in a while. He hit the ball over 3 times today. They made some good pitches when he struck out, but welcome back." Trout's return has also helped the Angels snap a 5-game winning streak, improved to 26-30. It was the first time since September 26, 2011 that Trout's rookie season that he started a game hitting lower than 3rd. Trout's 33 years old. He's been around a long time. Great player. Definitely, let's look at his stats. Definitely a Hall of Famer. Look at his stats, not Trout. His career, as far as career stats. See how many home runs he has. See, 387 home runs. He'd possibly be a Hall of Famer. Hasn't been the same in a while for the same player, but he should be in the Hall of Fame. 287 home runs, 972 RBIs. I say he's a Hall of Famer. What's career batting average? .297. We'll see. In the league a long time. I put him in the Hall of Fame like Trout. All right, that's the scenario with the Major League Baseball. Let's look at the standings. Right now, the Yankees are 35-21. They're in first place, 6.5 games up. This is a very, very mediocre division. We look at Tampa Bay Rays at 29-28, Toronto's 29-28, Boston is 28-31, and Baltimore is 20-36. But the best team in the league by far is the Detroit Tigers, man. They're 38-20. Won 5 in a row. They 6 games over Minnesota's 31-25. Cleveland's 30-26. 30-28 is Kansas City, and 18-39 Chicago White Sox. The West, you got the West, Houston, no surprise here, 31-26. They're like a half game up over Seattle. And Texas, 28-30. Angels is 26-30. and FA's 23-35. Let's get into the National League. Philadelphia and the Mets are battling for that first place. It's very intense. One game out is the Mets. Phillies up one game up, 36-21. Mets 35-22. And then we got the Central Division. We got the Chicago Cubs, who are playing very well, 35-22. They have 3 games up over St. Louis, 32-25. And we got the Milwaukee Brewers, 30-28. Then we got the Dodgers, 35-22. 2 games up. Very interesting division here because you got the Padres, you got the Giants. Giants are playing good, 32-25. The Cubs are looking very, very good. They may be a big surprise in that National League where they're playing. Look at things that they're doing right now. They're playing great. Very excellent. All right. Let's look into the stats. Player stats. Judge is in 392. He's leading the league in hitting. Ohtani is number 1 in home runs, 22. Devers, 52 RBIs. Judge leading the league in hits, 83. Robert Jr. Chicago White Sox, 21 stolen bases. Fried, 7. There's a lot of pitchers got 7 wins. Fried of the Yankees, Rodon, Brown, Ray, and Fat. Ubik, can't see, got 1.45 ERA. And Suarez, 18 saves. And strikeouts, Gore has 101 strikeouts. And 5 players got quality starts. 9, Willard, Keller, Valdez, Wu, and Brown. Look at the team stats. Dodgers are number 1 in hitting, 265 batting average. Yankees got the most home runs with 92. Chicago Cubs got 324 RBIs. Team for the best hits. The most hits is Boston Red Sox. The Tampa Bay Rays got 81 stolen bases. That's the most. The Tigers got 38 wins. And the New York Mets, 2.86 ERA. And that's basically it. And Phillies, the Brock Rogers tied with 20 saves. And the Phillies got the most strikeouts by a landslide, 559. The Phillies got the most quality starts with 30. So that's it for the baseball. Look at the recap of that. We get into this article. This is a very interesting article that I saw on ESPN.com. And it basically was talking about the similarities with the Oklahoma City Thunder in the last NBA dynasty that took place back when Golden State was doing their thing, winning the championships, going to 5 consecutive NBA Finals, winning 4 NBA Finals championships. Including one they did this decade, but they won the majority of them in the past decade. They won in 2015, 2017, and 18, and won in 2022. They won 4 championships, including 5 consecutive NBA Finals appearances. So they're just basically comparing this team, what they can potentially do compared to that team back in the 2010s. They're on the rise when you look at this OKC Thunder team. This franchise has won an NBA title since the 70s. Again, remember, OKC Thunder wasn't always that commonplace as a franchise. They used to be in Seattle. It used to be the Seattle Supersonics. They relocated to Oklahoma City, and that's where they reside at. But once upon a time, they won a championship back in 1979. That's the team that had downtown Freddie Brown. And let's look at that 1979 team, because that's the team that last won the championship for that franchise. Seattle. We got Seattle. (1979) Seattle Supersonics. Very unheralded team. Not a great team, but they won the championship that year. Lenny Wilkins was the head coach. Dennis Johnson, Gus Williams, Jackson. They had a big time team. The thing is, they wasn't dominant, but they was able to handle business to beat the Lakers in 5 games. They beat Phoenix Suns in a 7-game series in West Conference Finals, and they was in the finals for the second year. They lost to Bullets. They had Dennis Johnson, obviously, who would be a great player even more as he went to the Celtics. He won the Finals MVP. Gus Williams was a star guard, was the team's leading scorer. Jack Sitmo was made contributions on the boards, and Lenny Wilkins won the championship. And that was a significant moment for Seattle. to win a championship that year in 1979. And that's the very time where, again, this wasn't that dominant teams in the 70s. No, there's no dynasties at the time. Maybe the Knicks won a couple championships, 1970, 1973, 1974, 1976. Boston Celtics won a couple championships, but there were no like dynastic team. Portland Trailblazers could have been that with Bill Walton. At the time, he could have won. That team could have won more championships than they had. But the injuries to Walton just definitely crippled that situation from happening. But the Seattle Supersonics, they were a franchise that had a lot of success. But again, they relocated to Oklahoma City, where they reside right now. And as we have right now, what Oklahoma City is trying to do is do something that has been done since 1979. Seattle Supersonics win a championship. And that's what they're trying to do right now, and I think they're capable of doing right now. So back to this article that I saw, they have a 26-year-old MVP and Shea Alexander. This team nearly won 70 games and won 68 games. They finished with double-digit point differential, won the Western Conference Finals in 5 games. So this article is kind of comparing this team to the 2014-2015 Golden State Warriors team that had the same characteristics. And as I break it down, they beat Minnesota 124-94. It says right here in this article that the Thunder aren't just a typical finalist, but a historically great team. They mirror those Warriors teams a decade later due to a number of eerie similarities between the two squads. Midway through the 2010s, nobody would have reasonably expect the Warriors, who to that point had reached the conference finals in the Stephen Curry era, to become the decade's defining team. But they forced their way into that spot, repeated trips to the finals. Similarly, the Thunder hadn't reached the conference finals in the first half of the 2020s, but they're poised to dominate the rest of the decade, perhaps to build a comparable dynasty of their own. And this is a lot of truth to that, because the Thunder is very young. I think they're the youngest team in the league as of right now. As I go over this article, it's a great article, because what it does in this article is just compare the 2014-2015 Warriors team to the 2024-2025 Thunder team. The team from 10 years ago to this team 10 years later. So it's the Warriors at that time. They beat the Cleveland Cavaliers that year. LeBron James was on the team, obviously. And they won 67 games, lost only 15. The point differential was plus 10.1. Offensively, they ranked second, and they were first in defense. They were 16-5. So the Thunder team that you see this year, 68 wins, 14 losses, they had a better record than the Warriors team. You got a better point differential, 12 plus 12.9. Third offensive in rankings, third, and they number one in defense. And they're 12-4 as far as their playoff record. So they lost one less game than the Warriors. So the similarities can start here. The 2015 Warriors are the youngest title winner since 1980, with the average team age weighted at 26.4 years. But the Thunder are even younger. They're 24.7. So the youth includes two teams' leading scorers. Curry was 26 in 2014-2015. Shea Alexander is now 26. Curry had a 63.8% true shooting mark en route to his first MVP a decade ago, while Gilgeous Alexander had a 63.7% true shooting mark this season. Curry's 2015 season still, remarkably the most recent MVP campaign that ended in a championship, and SGA has a chance to join him in that feat. So their sidekicks look familiar also. We got Klay Thompson. He's 24 years old as a two-way star. Made his first All-NBA third team in the Warriors as they won their first championship. Same thing with Jalen Williams. He's 23 years old. He's a two-way star. He had his first All-NBA third team nod this year. Then you look at Draymond Green, 24 years old. 20 from the Midwest, received all-team, all-defense honors. Chet Holmgren is 22 years old from the Midwest, led the league in rim defense, would have contended for all defensive recognition if he had been eligible. And then you got Andre Iguodala, who was 31 years old, great on defense, elevated the Warriors when he entered games as a reserve. Now you got Alex Caruso, is the same for the Thunder, just a year younger. He's like 30 years old, 31 years old, Alex Caruso. So there's a lot of similarities to this article because he's with the Lakers. I think he was on that Lakers team in 2020. Played with the Bulls, now he's a Thunder. And he's always been great on defense. He's on an all defensive team this year, second team, and he's on an all defensive team in 2023, first team. So this is a lot of similarities are very accurate. We talk about the Warriors and what they did and what the Oklahoma City is about to do or possibly can do. So Iguodala won Finals MVP. I don't think that's going to happen with Caruso. But Andrew Bogut was a defensively stout foreign center who started games but didn't always finish them. He averaged 23 minutes in Golden State's playoff run. Isaiah Hartenstein is practically the same with 24 minutes instead of 23. Both teams also made a critical offense for defense trade as they built out their rosters. The timelines don't match perfectly, but the Warriors traded a gifted guard in Monte Ellis because he was a worse playmaker than Curry, and the ace defender Bogut was a better fit for the team. The Thunder traded a gifted guard in Josh Giddey to the Chicago Bulls because he wasn't as good as Gilgeous-Alexander. The ace defender Caruso made sense for their rotation. So you look at Golden State and Oklahoma City, they travel similar paths to the playoffs. En route to the finals, even as critics doubt their ability to translate such tremendous regular season success to the postseason. Remember all the talk a decade ago about how a three-point centric team like the Warriors couldn't possibly win in the playoffs. It sounded like a lot like the narrative this year about how opponents didn't fear the Thunder because they hadn't won the title before. But 2015 Warriors and 2025 Thunder both swept the number 8 seed in the first round, with a good comeback win in Game 3. Golden State stormed back from 20 points down in the fourth quarter in New Orleans as Curry's ludicrous tying three-pointer over Anthony Davis highlighted the comeback, while Oklahoma City overcame a 29-point deficit in Memphis. Then both teams had to survive a gut check against a veteran playoff tested squad in the second round. After falling behind 2-1 in the series, the Warriors came back against the grit and grind Memphis Grizzlies to win in 6 games, while the Thunder used multiple fourth-quarter comebacks to beat the recent champion Denver Nuggets in 7. Both teams used a novel defensive wrinkle. The Warriors had Bogut guard non-shooter Tony Allen. The Thunder put Russo on three-time MVP big man Nikola Jokic to pave the way to victory. And in the conference finals, facing a team led by an ascended star guard James Harden of the Houston Rockets then and now Anthony Edwards of the Minnesota Timberwolves, a multi-time Defensive Player of the Year at center, Dwight Howard, as well as Rudy Gobert. Now the Thunder and Warriors 1-5. So perhaps the two teams follow analogous trajectories because of their similar statistical profiles. The Warriors are remembered for their offensive brilliance and avatars of the three-point revolution, but their first championship team was actually better on the other end. Golden State ranked first in defensive rating, second on offense, similar to the Thunder ranking first in defensive rating, and third on offense this season. So both teams allowed significantly more free throws than they attempted, but they led the league in points off turnovers and were capable of breaking their opponents with sudden points barrages. Perhaps the most crucial connection in the big picture between the two dominant teams is that the best was yet to come for Golden State, which may be true for Oklahoma City. In retrospect, it's easy to identify the Warriors' magical 2014-2015 season as just the start of something special rather than its peak. They actually had a better point differential in 2015-2016, 2016-2017, with several more titles after their first. Similarly, it's not hard to imagine an even better Thunder season in the near future because given the group's youth and roster flexibility, the Thunder could also benefit from better injury luck. They won at a 70-win pace when at least one of homegrown Hartenstein was available. Both lost both big men, for a couple of less successful stretches of this season. After all, the Thunder already set the NBA record for point differential this season. With another year of development, is it that hard to envision that them pushing for the regular season win record 73 wins next year, considering the Warriors set the mark the year after their first finals run? Two primary obstacles to get in the way of the Oklahoma City dynasty that would rival the Warriors last decade. However, first, the NBA new apron rules could cause a premature breakup of the Thunder's elite depth. In order to keep their championship roster together for the long term, the Warriors led the NBA payroll 2017, 2018, 2018, 2019. a combined $86 million in luxury tax payments across those 2 seasons. A decade later, it's not just a question of whether Oklahoma City's owners will approve such lavish spending, but whether additional apron restrictions include that possibly entirely. Secondly, the Warriors extended their run by signing Kevin Durant in his prime. It's fun to speculate how their dynasty might have unfolded had Durant signed elsewhere or stayed with Thunder in 2016. It's not as if the Warriors would have collapsed without him. They just won 17 games, likely would have won the title if not the green suspension in the finals. But Cleveland had arguably the best team of the second LeBron James era in 2017. Those Cleveland Cavaliers started above won the playoffs to reach the finals and Western Conference threats like the San Antonio Spurs. Rockets were on the rise. Golden State probably wouldn't have reached 5 finals in a row without Durant. It's easy to spin out further hypotheticals here. If Durant hadn't signed with the Warriors, would Zaza Pachulia have been in a position to slide under Kawhi Leonard's foot in 2017 conference finals? Would Daryl Morey have traded for Chris Paul to build the first 60-win team in Rockets history? Would the Thunder have even traded for Paul George as a Durant replacement, setting in motion the events that led to Gilgeous Alexander's arrival in Oklahoma City? Regardless, Durant's move to the Golden State captured an unprecedented scenario in the game's history, which created arguably the best team the league has ever seen. 2016-2017 Warriors who rampaged through the playoffs with a 16-win record. Unless the Thunder win the title and trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo this summer, it's irrational to imagine a comfortable move to Oklahoma City. In and of itself, that might be sufficient reason to doubt the Thunder's ability to dominate the rest of the 2020 and relative to Golden State's in 2010s. But the Thunder have one advantage the Warriors didn't. Other than Durant, Golden State didn't really add to its core once it started winning. With the top 10 Warriors in total playoff minutes during their 5-year run, 8 were already on the team when the 2014-2015 season began. The only exception was Durant, Kevin Looney, who joined the club in the summer of 2016 via free agency and the draft respectively. Golden State barely used the draft after adding Kirby Thompson Green and Harrison Barnes from 2009-2012. Due to a number of trades, the Warriors made just 3 picks in the 6 drafts from 2013 through 2018. Looney worked out, but Damian Jones and Jacob Evans did not. They also traded for Jordan Bell, Patrick McCall, and Namaja Nadavic on the draft night. None of them developed into long-term contributors. Unlike the Warriors, the Thunder have more picks than they can usually actually use, including all of their own picks, feature first-round selections of spots from Miami Heat, LA Clippers, the Rockets, the Philadelphia 76ers, Utah Jazz, the Nuggets, the Dallas Mavericks. That stash means more opportunities for Oklahoma City to build around its young Big Three, which is Chet Holmgren, Shea Alexander, and Jalen Williams, which will be necessary given the cap complications that hamper deep, star-laden teams in the more modern NBA. The notion of a dynasty in Oklahoma City still seems far away given that it hasn't won its first title yet. The Thunder are heavily favored to do so. Should they win, they will be in better position to extend their reign than any recent champion. After an entire column's worth of similarities, that context might be the greatest difference between the 2015 Warriors and 2025 Thunder. Golden State emerged into the spotlight as the latest addition in a long lineage of NBA dynasties. From 1999 to 2014, every finals featured the Lakers, Spurs, and Heat, and repeat champion titles were the norm rather than the exception. By comparison, Oklahoma City ascends the competitive ladder because the NBA is guaranteed to have its 7th different champion in the past 7 years. No reigning champion has advanced past the second round since 2018-2019 Warriors. But the stage is set for the next great NBA dynasty. Thunder's blueprint is clear, as they follow the Warriors' model a decade later. They've assembled a talented Big Three proper supporting cast. They've survived the necessary playoff test. And they've prepared to define the 2020s, just as the Warriors became synonymous with the NBA in 2010. This is a great article because everything I just read is so true. I mean, this team in OKC Thunder could definitely be a dynasty. And that's what the NBA is about, built on historically. I'm saying, look at the George Mikan Lakers, they won 3 championships in Minneapolis in the 50s. Then here comes, the Celtics dynasty. They won, 8 in a row. Bill Russell's dynasty. Then there was no dynasties in the 70s. Like I said, in the 70s, The Knicks won 2 championships in 70 and 73. Then the Celtics won in 74, 76, and that was it. You know what I'm saying? There was no repeat champion. Then the 80s come around, here come the Lakers. Ever Magic Johnson comes to the Lakers, they win 5 championships in the 80s. They were the dynasty. And then here comes the Chicago Bulls. Now, in between that, you did have the Detroit Pistons. They did win 2 championships in a row, 89 and 90. Mini dynasty. But here, the dynasty, he took over when Jordan came to his own, and the Bulls won, 6 championships in that span of 8 years. And then here comes, the Spurs. They win 5 championships. I gotta start with them because yes, Shaq and Kobe had a dynastic run. Yes, they did. They won 3 and 4 years. They could have won more, but due to ego, who wants to be man, Kobe and Shaq, their relationship, whatever it is that was going down, that they could have won more than Kareem and Shaq and Pippen and Jordan. For every reason, it didn't work out. Now Kobe was able to win 2 more championships without Shaq. We had Paul Gasol and guys like that. Lamar Odom and Derek Fisher was still on that team, and we had other pieces that was helpful, but not dynastic run. Even though he won those 2 championships without Shaq, he could have won a lot more with Shaq. So those are dynasties right there, in a sense. You gotta include the Spurs. Spurs won 5 championships. That's a dynastic run. They just didn't repeat, but they had a great run. I mean, that's a special one, winning 5 championships. I gotta include them as a dynastic team. That's a lot of hardware. And then when you look at after that, the Miami Heat, they could have had a dynasty, had a good run for consecutive years in the finals. Won 2 of them, lost 2, lost to Dallas, lost to San Antonio, beat Oklahoma City, and beat San Antonio. Yes, dynasties definitely reign supreme in the NBA. When you talk about dynasties, then here comes the Warriors. They changed the game into the 3-point revolution. Curry and Thompson. They defined the decade of the 2010s. They definitely did. And that's the thing that's amazing because it was supposed to be about Miami Heat. Think about it. Before the Warriors came into their own, it was supposed to be about the Heat. LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, they had their run 4 straight NBA Finals appearances, but only won 2 of them. Here comes the Warriors. They win 4 championships. Changed the game to the 3-point shooting. You know what I'm saying? Splash Brothers, Curry and Thompson. A team that was built by Mark Jackson. I give him credit. He definitely was, a builder of that team before Steve Kerr took over. But when you look at the amazing thing, how they just took over just like that. Who thought that the Golden State Warriors would be a dynasty? They had their great run to go to 5 consecutive NBA Finals, but war retrenching, kicks in and they don't have the same, success. They fall off a little bit. They won in 2022, and currently they kind of like on the heels of just not being the same. Because right now you got OKC Thunder. The thing about them that's amazing, it's not easy because they had Kevin Durant, Westbrook, and Durant and Harden, and they still able to find a way to build this team to what it is. Because the similarities from this arc was very similar. When we talk about Caruso being that veteran guy that defends, it's like Andre Iguodala, same thing. Come off the bench. The same thing with Holmgren, Draymond Green, defensive stalwarts. Williams, that 2-way guy. Just like Klay Thompson was. Same thing with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Same thing as Stephen Curry. Now, Curry and Gilgeous-Alexander's game is different because Gilgeous-Alexander doesn't put the emphasis on 3-point shooting. He gets to the free throw line a lot. So he has a mid-range game. He does a lot of different things. He shoot threes than Curry is. But there's lots of similarities. You got guys that are young. He's 26. Curry was 26. So this was an excellent article by Zach Cram to compare the similarities between Oklahoma City Thunder and the last dynasty that the NBA had was the Warriors, man. And now you have a team in the West doing their thing in the Thunder. Now, Thunder got a lot of work to do. That's what makes this NBA Finals so interesting, so intriguing, because this article is simply saying that Oklahoma City could be that next dynasty. because their youth, their average age is 24.7. That's the average age. They're the youngest team in the league. So when you have that kind of youth and you got a chance to be champions for a long time, you gotta get a championship first and then you build on that. And I think they're gonna do it. I just think they're gonna win the whole thing. Because according to the statistics, the 2025 Oklahoma City Thunder team is the youngest to reach the NBA Finals in nearly 50 years. That'll go back to the 1976-77 Portland Trail Blazers. Their average age is 25.56. That's their average age. So I see this article. It said that 24.7 was team age. They'd be younger than the Warriors team that won in 2015. So let's go back to this information. The Portland team that won in 77, their average age was 25.03. This current Thunder team is 25.56. The Thunder's youth has been a key factor in their success, making them as the youngest team in the playoffs, the youngest in NBA history. The Thunder's average age of under 25 is the youngest for any team to reach the finals. Okay, so they gotta be 24.7. Okay, that gotta be true. They got a very youthful roster, man. Draft picks, many young players. This is a dominant team. They got the best point differential in NBA history. No youth is served. 24.148 years old. So they average age is 24. Yeah. Well, 25.33 points the average age. They got the list right here. 1976, 76, 77, 76ers 25.12, 1950, 1951, New York Knicks 25.13. The Trailblazers won the championship. The average age was 25.31. 2025 Oklahoma City Thunder 25.33. And you got the Warriors of Philadelphia 25.74, 1955, 1956. So this is special. What the LKC Thunder is doing is because you don't see these young teams advance to the finals like this. And another thing too about the clinching of what they did against the Wolves, the Timberwolves, it's up there with the largest margin of victory to clinch a series in the conference finals. They won by 30 points. The biggest margin of victory was those great Lakers teams in '85. They beat the Nuggets 153 to 109, beating about 44 points. So you can serve, man. This team definitely can be something special. When you look at what they're capable of doing, they're dominant in the conference finals. They did quick work. That's the thing. I think they're gonna be so heavy favorite in these finals, wherever they play, whether it be the Knicks, whether it be the Pacers. This team is special, man. This team is special. Look at the 30-point wins in the playoff run. They've had always established the mark for most wins by 30 or more points in the postseason. They got four wins in these playoffs have been by 30 plus points. They've done it 4 times. 4 times they've done this. So they've been dominant. And lose about 40 and still win series. They lost by 42 points in game 3. Again, that's gonna happen sometimes. But they still won the series. Despite losing by 40 points. They became one of the 3 teams in NBA history to lose a game in a series by 40 more points and still win a series. And then you have Shai Alexander, his playoff series. Look at the playoff run that he's had. I mean, he led the league in scoring with 32.7 points a game. He ranks number 2 in the playoffs in scoring. Among active players, 29.9 points per game. He's a playmaker, averaging 6.4 assists per game in the playoffs, 6.9 assists. He's amassed 10 games with 30 or more points and 5 or more assists. He needs 2 more such games to have the most 30.5 assist games in NBA history. He's done it 10 times. I mean, Michael Jordan did it twice, like 3 times in his career. LeBron James did it. Now, gives Isaiah got a chance to do it. I think he will. This guy's a great player, man. He's the face of the league. He's going to be the face of the league. He just got to win a championship. That's it. Simple. This team is special. This team is special. They just got to win a championship. That's it. That's what makes this upcoming NBA Finals so intriguing, because you got to see what can they do now they're on this big stage as a young team, the youngest team in the league. How do they handle that? I think they handled it well so far, getting to this point. So I don't think they're going to change their demeanor and their approach to how this game is going to be played. This NBA Finals is going to be played. So I think they're going to be ready to go. And I think upcoming season is going to do it. Simple as that. So that was a great article by Zach Cram comparing the 2015 Warriors against 2025 Thunder, because lots of similarities. A decade before, a decade later. Because again, you don't have a team that's been defining of a decade of this period of time. You know what I'm saying? The first 5 championships that have been won this decade have been different teams. The Lakers won in 2020 during that bubble, and then Milwaukee Bucks, the Golden State Warriors, yes, keeping on with what they did in the previous decade, but they finished. They're not gonna be no dynasty. 2023, could have had the Denver Nuggets, could have had the Boston Celtics. They won it last year, but injuries to Tatum, who knows? They may not be a dynasty, but this team right here could be a dynasty. The way they built, man, you gotta have youth. You got to be that young. You gotta have some veterans, because look at the Lakers dynasty. They had a lot of older guys. I mean, especially with Kareem. Kareem was in his 30s when Magic won the championship for him. You know what I'm saying? When he had the 42 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists. Kareem was like 33. So they had some veterans on that team. The Celtics, they run dynastic kind of run. The Bird, McHale, and Parrish, they had some older guys on that roster. Dennis Johnson's up there a little bit. They wasn't young. Like this team, the Bulls teams. The Pistons, they had some guys that played a long time, but they wasn't like the youngest team like this. The Bulls teams, they had some youth. Yes, Jordan was 27, 28. Had some veterans. Bill Cartwright been around for a long time. They had some veteran guys. Cliff Livingston, Craig Hodges, stuff, guys like that. They had some veterans. When you look at their dynasty in the early 90s and the mid 90s, they had an older team. Kobe, Shaq, Lakers, the main dynasty they had some veterans. They had Kobe and Shaq. You had Rick Fox. He had been around a long time. We had AC Green, I think, was on that team, won in 2000. Had some veterans on that team. But they wasn't like the youngest team by any means. Robert Orr was around for a while. The Spurs, they didn't have a young team. They had some veterans. Obviously Robinson was older when Duncan was coming into his own doing his thing. They had Mario Elie, that had won a championship, couple championships with Houston. So there's a lot of veterans on that team that have been around for a while. And then you look at the Golden State Warriors, they had some youth. They're very young at certain parts. But this is different. Everybody's young. There's a lot of youth from this on this team except for Caruso. Caruso's 31. I don't know who else is in their 30s on this team. Let's look at this roster quickly before I close out. Okay, Kenrich Williams, he's 30 years old. But everybody else is in their 20s. Everybody else is in their 20s. see what happens, man. What they do next week when they start the NBA Finals on June 5th in OKC. 68 wins, man. Can they finish it with a championship? I think they will, man. Else is gonna be a failure, absolute failure. So, when you don't dominate like this, don't win a championship. You got the best player in the league, scoring champion, Shea Alexander. Now you're gonna fall short. I just don't see it happen. I just think this team is on a mission. They ain't come this far just to be happy to be in the finals. And you look at Shea Alexander, man. He was drafted in 2018 as an overall pick by Charlotte. He was with the Clippers for one season. Then he got traded to Oklahoma City. Been there since 2018. Three-time All-NBA first team, MVP of the conference finals, MVP, All-Tournament team, All-Rookie second team. So this guy's definitely gonna be the face of the league once he wins his championship. I think he is right now in a sense, but he obviously got to submit that with a championship. But people know who this guy is. It is what it is. This guy's big time. So that's basically it, man. As far as that's concerned, I wanted to get into that. All NBA for the rest of the second half of the show. And rightfully so. There's not that much going on in sports. NBA Finals is set. As far as Oklahoma City's getting there, just waiting the winner of the team that's going to face them in the NBA Finals. Will it be the Indiana Pacers? Will it be the New York Knicks? Got Game 6 tonight, man. It's must watch, man. Can the Indiana Pacers handle their business? Can Halliburton play better than he did last time? I don't think he's going to be attempting 7 field goal attempts this time. I think he's going to definitely be aggressive, be in attack mode. You expect a better performance by Indiana. They're not going to score 94 points. I just think they just melded in and just wanted to try to win it at home in front of their fans. So now they got a chance to do that tonight. But I just think that Indiana's going to prevail. They will win tonight. They will advance to the NBA Finals, and they will lose to OKC Thunder. It's a done deal. I mean, Oklahoma City Thunder is just a better team. That's how I see it in that finals in next week. It's not going to be a ratings bonanza where people are going to be tuned in to this NBA Finals. You're going to have more market teams. The Knicks could come back and win the series. It'll be New York versus Oklahoma City. That would be interesting because most people try to get into that because of the big market in New York. But I think it's going to be 2 small market teams. I think Indiana's going to finish it. And they better win tonight. You got to win tonight. I mean, if you win tonight, now you got Game 7. Now remember to shift it back to the Knicks. And now you got a chance to potentially lose the series. A 3-1 lead that you had at your disposal. You cannot let that happen. You let that slip out of your hands. So that's it, man, for the show as far as that's concerned. Be back next week. Keep it moving. Now, I want to say this for the listening audience. I said it in my other show that I did. Just wisdom. Rashad Mitchell as a closeout about. I had a colonoscopy this past Wednesday afternoon. Went to the hospital to see if I had any colon cancer, and I don't have colon cancer. Cancer free. Praise God. And I want to urge the black men out there, man, go get yourself checked. Go to get your colonoscopy, man. You're 30 plus or 40 plus of age. Gotta do what you gotta do. Do what you gotta do, and make it happen, man. To make sure that you do what you gotta do to maintain a healthy life, clean bill of health. Seriously. Clean bill of health is very important. Make sure you get a colonoscopy. Check yourself. Black men, we are disproportionately in that scenario where you get the colon cancer. You know what I'm saying? We're in that bad situation when it comes to colon cancer. We get it a lot at a rapid rate. You face a higher risk of colon cancer than your other racial group. It's due to disparity, healthcare, risk factors, genetic factors. You die quickly. And it could be obviously because of what we're eating. You gotta be careful what we're eating in our bodies in terms of, high sodium in foods and fried foods and fatty foods, the usual stuff, sweets and stuff like that. We gotta stay away from that. And black men are at the highest heights when it comes to that. You die from colon cancer. So earlier screening is very important to detect the disease and can be treatable. But they ain't find nothing in me. So I was clear of any colon cancer. I didn't have any colon cancer. I had a clean bill of health. I'm looking forward to having a good diet. Continue to eat right, eat healthy. But for black men, you got to go get yourself checked, man. Get yourself checked. That colonoscopy. Yes, it's very tricky because you don't want nobody, a doctor sticking a tube up your behind to see your colon. That's what they do. Now, they put me to sleep. I was sedated. I don't know what happened. I ain't wake up. So after everything's over, I don't know how long colonoscopy lasted, but I did have it. I mean, I was clear of anything. I didn't have no cancer. So praise God for that. Well, just urge you. It's up to you. But I'm happy that I took inventory about my health. I did my regular screening. And they didn't detect anything of cancer in my colon. Praise God. So I want to urge the black men, man, go check, get yourself checked. Get that colonoscopy, man. Because we are at a higher rate than any other race of getting this. It's a serious disease. So you want to make sure you get yourself right, eat good, do what you can, stay away from certain foods, do what you gotta do. Make it happen. Get what you need to curb the situation. Giving you some awareness about the importance of getting yourself screened. I'm grateful to have a radio show to talk about this. Just discuss this. Yeah, get yourself screened. 30 plus, 40 plus of age, get it done, man. Because a lot of young adults are dying from this. So hopefully you understand that. So that's it, man. Final episode of the month of May. Hopefully you enjoy everything I talked about for the NBA playoffs, sports headlines, the Major League Baseball, UFC fighting schedule, and NBA. I talked about again the article about the similarities between the Golden State Warriors of 2015 and 2025 Oklahoma City Thunder, about the dynasties that these two teams. Well, the Warriors had their dynasty, but the potential that this team, Oklahoma City Thunder, could possibly have. And it was a great article, and I broke that down, just talking about the Thunder and their youth and their potential to win a championship. So get ready for the night, man. We got Game 6 between the Pacers and Knicks. Can the Knicks force a Game 7, or can the Pacers win it, celebrate for their fans, advance to the finals, NBA Finals for the first time since 2025 years. So that must-see TV tonight. If you like NBA, if you're not fans of these teams, it's a must-watch. So that concludes episode number 408, 408th episode of the Rashad Mitchell Show, live on Gyroscope Radio. Hope you enjoyed everything I talked about from top to bottom, all of the above. So for Ron Williams behind the boards, with Rick Stews of Wilshire Park, New Jersey, and Control Room, I'm Rashad Mitchell. Until then, talk to you next time, real soon, next month, in the month of June, live on Gyroscope Radio, the 409th episode number 409.